I think he's using quantum fiber.
So we're live because I didn't want to miss any of this.
It's Chris from the future,
Oh, wait.
Chris from the past.
Chris is gone.
Caught up to his own timeline again.
Yeah.
So I apologize. We've been having fun all morning here trying to get the machines, and the Google box is Googling. So I have a couple of stories I've clipped. You guys are more than happy to talk about something else. There's a story out here that I think, Steve, it's for you, right? The malware.
The malware, yeah, the bank malware.
Malware is when something's on your machine and it's doing something, it's making your machine a zombie machine, right? So something's going in the background that you don't know.
It can do a lot of different things. When you type in Google, it'll take you to some other search engine. It's not directly doing something terrible like stealing your information, but it's sending you to some place that will try to steal your information.
So like Google.
Yeah.
Would you say that Microsoft and so malware means that the software it's software that's doing something bad? Wouldn't Microsoft fit into that? Just saying.
I'm not going to talk about any of my customers like that.
Well, Mr. 10% of the startups in New York City, if you guys keep going that way, we won't be able to talk about anything.
Yeah, they came out actually with VentureBeat came out with a report last week that listed top 10 startups in New York City, and we're number 8, so right behind Etsy. So I was real pleased.
I didn't know that Etsy was in New York.
Yeah, in Brooklyn.
Isn't everybody? Yeah. So let's get started with the story, Steve. It's all yours.
So basically, it was a bunch of hackers who put this malware in. They used it to get video feeds and other information. I think the interesting part of this is then they just kind of embarked on good old-fashioned thievery, right? They showed up to banks. They knew people's IDs. They impersonated bankers, and then took the cash. Mostly, it looks like most of this happened in Russia. So, although it does look like they accessed some ATMs all over the world, but the preponderance of the theft happened in Russia.
It was interesting because there was a report that said, people from the Middle East and Russia steal money. People from the Asian countries steal information.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
So who's stealing?
But this was going on for quite some time, it looks like.
Yeah, and I think it probably still is.
Yeah.
And we should probably talk more about malware in the next couple of weeks. But the next story is for you, Chris. There's a story about Snapchat.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite apps.
Is it? Okay.
He's perfect for the demographic.
Interesting.
That's it.
So, Snapchat Discover has sent some publishers millions of views per day.
Tell me more, Marco.
No, I was hoping you would. What's going on with Snapchat?
I haven't read this story, so I'm sorry.
No, but tell me about Snapchat. Are they doing well?
Yeah, Snapchat is doing pretty well. They do have like 100 million active users. Actually, I think most people think that it's the under 20 crowd, and perhaps even much younger than that. Teens and preteens. There are a lot of things that you could do when you think that you can take a picture that is going to go away in 15 or 20 seconds. Which is the premise of Snapchat.
And I was going to say, and that's the premise, that's the belief, right?
It's the hook,
Right.
but it's not really real, right?
Well, it is if you don't know how to do something complicated like take a screenshot.
Or if you accidentally take screenshots because you don't know what the hell you're doing, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I've noticed looking at some people's camera rolls of people that I know that they have 1 million screenshots in their camera roll. So,
Yep.
So not only do they not know how to take screenshots, they don't know how to delete them.
delete, you can do that? You know, that's kind of the attitude that half these people have. So,
Yeah.
The other thought that I thought you'd like is your favorite company is getting to self-driving electric cars. Chris?
Yeah. So
Coming from, so let's go to board. So we have a man on the ground in San Francisco. Have you seen any?
I was going to say, is there something in the water out there that's driving all of these tech companies to build a self-driving car?
I think it's just either laziness or them not being able to drive cars. But then again, then Texas would have driven them, made them a long time ago.
no, I think what it is living in San Francisco. I'm shopping for a house right now, and I've been shopping for a house for a couple of months. And that is probably the universe's second most frustrating experience, because you can't park to look at the house you want to buy anywhere in the city of San Francisco. And so having a self-driving car that could just drop you off and then circle the block for 20 minutes would be amazing.
kind of like Uber.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, Apple's talking about making a self-driving car because they're angry at Tesla and Elon Musk because he's not a big supporter of them anymore. I'm not sure what's going on there.
He's a douche.
Yeah, they evidently hired a bunch of engineers away from Tesla. So
It was
that's
interesting because even in the Steve Jobs autobiography, well, not autobiography, it talked about that Steve has always been interested in making his own car.
Considering he never put license plates on his car, anyway, that's another story.
And that's also true. But he also only drove Mercedes because he thought they were the most beautiful cars.
I'm happy for him.
So how far away do you think we are from having an actual production self-driving car that would actually be able to get you from one part of the country to the other versus just getting around a specific city?
Cadillac last year promised they'd have one by 17.
But here's the other thought I had on that, Chris. Because I don't think that this is a technology stumble. I think that this is popular. I don't know if this is just the people driven. How many people are willing to get in a car that's not being driven by anybody? Besides you and I.
So I was reading an article in an Economist that somebody left in the seat back of the airplane seat I was sitting in, and it was about the trends in luxury cars, and they were talking about the cars that MC Hammer and a bunch of Hollywood people had created for them.
Wait a minute.
And
How old was that?
MC Hammer.
It was small. MC Hammer's worth about $500 million, guys.
All right.
Can't touch that.
I'm not going to touch that.
And so, yeah, you can't touch that. Yeah.
I thought he lost all his money. Didn't he lose all his money?
I don't know. Anyway, the big thing now is rolling office. It's computer, video conferencing, and all that kind of stuff. And they talk about people getting in their cars, closing the curtains on the windows, and going to work. And
I do that now.
Yeah, but you're driving.
Going to work. Yeah, I do that now. No, I go to sleep.
Yeah, but that's because you can afford the driver. Now, for the rest of us, being able to get in a car and say, take me to work and take a nap or whip out the laptop and go to work would be, amazing. And so, I was talking to somebody recently that said that they felt that in 10 years, you won't be able to drive on the freeway.
Really?
Between cities. It'll have to be an automatic driving car because
crazy.
It would be too dangerous for the other automatic cars on the highway traveling at highway speeds. So
So here's an interesting thought with that, I think. At least to me it's interesting. What happens with car insurance rates when people are no longer responsible for driving, but it's the software behind the manufacturer that's responsible for it? Are you indemnifying the manufacturer by paying to insure them, or are you just now paying for your own theft and other stuff? And why would you steal a car that's
Well,
self-driving?
you can't try steal anymore. It's like,
That's what I'm saying. What happens to the whole car insurance industry with us?
I think it's called disruption.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah. I mean,
wait a minute. I see on your website, insurancegods.com.
I'm not going to talk about Sprinkler's customers, but it's all going to change quite considerably, and insurance is still wrestling with laptops and phones and things like that.
I never thought about that, about the insurance portion of that. That's interesting.
Well, it's the whole legal aspect of it, right?
Well, yeah, it's
Who do you sue?
indemnification, and it's a whole indemnification and limitations of liability and all this stuff that's going to have to be built into the contracts and all these smart connected cars and devices.
So my car right now, as I'm driving home and fall asleep, when I'm too close to the guy in front of me, it will hit the brakes.
Right. But what if that doesn't work?
I get that, and I've had some times that because of the situation it didn't engage.
If the sensor's dirty and it can't, because the car's filthy from the snow.
Yeah, and when I say to my wife, "Watch this. Let's see that brick wall there. Watch this." So the other thing is that, Chris, help me out here.
I'll do my best.
They said that they want to have this almost like network where every car knows where every car is.
That's going to happen very quickly. The concept is you put a GPS in each car, and the GPS is going to broadcast a little signal. The concept is it's going to be anonymous because you don't really need to know who the car is. But the GPS is going to say, this is me, I'm here, and I'm going in this direction at this rate of speed. And the idea is that it will prevent accidents because the cars can tell each other where they are. And so, for instance, as you approach an intersection, if you're running a red light, the other cars can know it and brake and let you through.
Yeah, because there's more than that going on. It's more than just GPS. I mean, they're also doing car-to-car communication where there's a bunch of different, so I'm not going to get into the actual geekery of it, but there's a bunch of different technologies out there right now. They're competing for standards for the communication protocol for one car to communicate to another. Each manufacturer is trying to address it their own way, but the whole idea is each car is going to be pinging each other besides going up to the satellites. So you'll have these proximity sensors know the exact different distances between the cars, and there'll be ways to communicate and crowdsource data, kind of like waves on steroids.
And Steve, I really hope that Microsoft doesn't come up with their own car.
Oh no! If these guys are doing it, they're going to have to come up with their
own
car.
It will be so much fun.
Cortana-driven car.
Don't you just want to see wouldn't it be so much fun when you call up tech support for your car and they tell you take the key, take the push button start, turn the car off, get out, open all the doors, close all the doors, get back in again and start driving and everything's fixed.
I put an article in the chat window. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it was last week.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And the other thing, and before you go on to this one, the other thing, Steve, is that your car records where you have been today.
Yeah.
So when you go to the dealership, your dealership knows where the car has been today, where it's been driving, how it's been driving. The little thing on the clip underneath. But tell us about the story that you just clipped.
Well, it's about the Justice Department tracking cars moving all over the U.S., millions of cars, and drivers specifically, using kind of a network of, cities' cameras, your vehicle toll tags, right, and the cameras and the toll systems, right, to triangulate where cars are moving or have been moving.
So I saw this, and I started doing a little research. I saw this article. I think this came out like Wednesday or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I started reading this, and I hopped over to a couple of articles when I was done. And what
Mhm.
I thought was really interesting is, and I wish I had the link that I went to because that's what kind of freaked me out, is the Easy Pass sensors and all the tolls that are out there for your car for
Mhm.
paying for tolls. They're now going to get to a point where they're going to know specifically how many passengers are in the car, and they're trying to figure out how to monetize that to actually charge you based on number of passengers when you're going over tolls.
Oh yeah.
Which is just, I think, a little ludicrous. But
I actually think that the Easy Pass tags are stupid because you know the car is, and why have a tag? You can record the license plate. You can do OCR.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all doing that, right? You
doing it
can either
anyways.
get Yeah. Yeah.
I remember whipping through an Easy Pass toll back in, it must have been like '99 or something like that. I remember I had my Nissan Pathfinder back then going on the Jersey Turnpike when they just started Easy Pass. I flew through one of the tolls doing like 70 miles an hour, just not paying attention. And a few days later, I had a picture of myself in the mail, sitting behind the camera. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah, so all we're doing with the self-driving cars is just make it even easier for them to figure out where you are. At least now they have to do a little bit of work.
So I'm all about something that Chris was talking about a couple of seconds ago. I'm all about the car office. So I live about an hour, hopefully an hour, outside of New York, 35 minutes off hours, 2 hours during rush hour. I don't take public transportation because, number
You're
one,
special.
no, there's just no real solution for where I live. And
Well, that helipad you got in your backyard.
Yeah.
that's not public transportation.
Well, it could be if you said
Mine.
By the looks of your backyard, you could sled into the city.
That's right. So I drive in because during that drive time, I do conference calls, I do things, right? I'm all about that mobile office. The thing I never understood, Chris, is why haven't they built a more available, more readily available luxury way of getting back and forth where you actually have an office on wheels until you get to work?
You know,
it's a limo.
I thought it was called a Maybach, right?
Hang on a second. They have these buses that, it's like you sit in the bus and you literally have, a place to work that you can be on the phone, nobody can hear you. But that never really caught on. I pay more money for that.
In San Francisco today, I'm looking it up right now.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I was waiting for this.
There's lots of public transportation, and I ride the bus here, and it's 20 minutes, and I'm usually standing because the bus is usually full. But there are two new apps that are competing, and one of them, the bus is like $2.25, and then this company called Looped, L-O-O-P-T, I believe, and I'm checking on it.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
I've seen it too. Mm-hmm.
And it runs the bus route. It charges $6 a ride, and they use stretch limos. And the concept is you're with 3 or 4 people, and it's a much more a much nicer ride, I guess. So and it's triple the price.
Or you could just get a bus with a cone of silence in it for each person.
Right.
That would work.
So Marco, I don't know if that's a consideration. I don't know if the Loop limo could make it up the drive of the compound that you live in.
What's it called? L-O, what is it?
I think it's L-O-O-P-T. I'm checking.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't think they have one around here.
No,
I think it's only in San Francisco right now.
Yeah. But their logo is a white bow tie, so they stick these magnetized signs on the side of these stretch limos.
Yeah, it looks like it's only a Google thing. Mountain View.
Yeah.
Yeah, the company's based in Mountain View. Okay.
So.
Yeah.
I'm pissed at Loop because they don't do Android, so I can't get the app.
You don't blame me.
What do you guys think about the net neutrality announcement last week?
Bring us up to speed, because you know the way I feel about it.
So the FCC took a really strong position and came out and said that that they believe that internet access needs to be treated like a utility, and that it should be regulated by countries and states and things like that, and that.
But hold on a second. Let's stop at utility for a second. That means if I don't use it, I don't get charged, right?
Yeah, like water or electricity or telephone service.
Yeah, but that's not what they're saying.
Yeah, what they're saying is that it shouldn't be that you would be able to buy preferential treatment over others in the bandwidth. So this comes down to the argument where Netflix was saying that Comcast was deliberately slowing them down and providing a poor user experience for their customers.
I don't understand why Netflix is always in the middle of net neutrality, since Netflix is not on the network; it's on the internet. You cannot get Netflix through the internet. There's no traffic. You know the way that works, right? Like people like, not Comcast, but almost every other ISP out there has a Netflix appliance in their data center. So that when you ask for the movie, it's already at the ISP, and it's only in your last mile.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, it's all edge network driven, right? I mean, it's all sitting
right.
all sitting there in caching systems and edge networks.
And that appliance is hooked up through dark fiber back to Netflix. So there's no Netflix traffic on the internet other than the last mile. Okay, go into the other thing that when I read it, it said everybody should be equal and they should have the same thing. Right. So that means that when you're getting surgery and my kids are on the internet playing Minecraft, that slowdown, you're okay because that machine has been driven the same way, right? Mm-hmm. You're okay with medical not getting any preferential treatment.
So your surgeon's in Point Barrow, Alaska, and you're in New Jersey? Is that No.
Like if you look at the Da Vinci, seriously, if you look at the Da Vinci surgery, which is being done all over the place now,
mm-hmm.
right?
The robotic surgery machine.
Yeah. A friend of mine just had surgery 3 days ago. He stepped in the room with the Da Vinci, right? So that's okay. That's the same. It's the same thing, right? So you want that, not the pre-prudential. And another one is, since you're a veteran, would you want your internet, your military internet, because it goes close to the same one, to be the same way?
Well, it's not the same, right? It's isolated.
It's isolated to the depends which one, right? Because the other one is not.
Yeah, anything with anything that's classified is
right, that's
physically
different.
separated,
Right.
But yeah.
Right. So, the one that really ticked me off is why would I be able to? Because right now, as you guys know, I have business bandwidth, right? That's why I look so beautiful to you guys, because I'm doing 100 megabits up and down.
Yes.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm not one of those halfway things. I hate that commercial. So, why is it that I can't pay more money for that?
It's not paying more money for that. It's whether Google or any of the other guys could pay Comcast to deliver their stuff better than one of their competitors. So Google would be able to squeeze out Yahoo and pay more.
Right.
Or Apple would be able to pay out more so that Apple's iTunes work better than Spotify.
No, I got that piece. But
and that's the net neutrality part that they're trying to say needs to be regulated like a utility.
I guess, but my question is, where is that a problem right now?
Right, that's the question. What problem are we fixing with that?
So,
By the way, 1 second. The other thing that's in that thing, I was an ISP owner. I owned an ISP, and I think, Steve, you did too, right?
Yep.
Now, all the ISPs are carriers.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, and I'm not aware of any of this going on, but it certainly could. But if you took a carrier, whoever they are, and they decided that they were not pleased with abortion rights or gay marriage or any of those issues, they could selectively slow down those websites so they could reroute all the data from any websites that they politically don't agree with. Or it could be they don't agree with the Democratic Party, or they could politically not agree with the Republican Party.
Is that
Fox News.
Is that going on anywhere? Wait,
it could be.
No, I got that. A lot of things could be. A lot of things could be, right? But the moment that there was a...
But there's nothing that says that's against the rules or the law.
It's not.
So the Koch brothers could spend $1 billion to slow everything down.
I knew this was coming. Koch brothers.
I was waiting for that, actually.
You Koch brothers.
I mean, it's if you've got enough money and you decide you want to do it, you could go ahead and start, changing communication patterns because you want to slow down, the Republican Party.
Okay, so this is all about the Republican Party then.
Well, I mean, last week, so on the other side of it, last week Anonymous attacked ISIS, right? The Anonymous, the 99%, all that kind of stuff. They attacked ISIS, and they took down a couple of hundred ISIS Facebook pages and Twitter accounts and stuff like that. All right, and from our perspective, that's a wonderful thing. From, the people who support them, that's a horrible thing. And the question is, where's it going to go from there? And if somebody in a position of power decides, I don't like this, and I'm going to slow it down, and I'm going to tell my guys to set all our routers to slow the traffic down that I don't agree with, that becomes a problem. Right?
Does it?
We're talking about... That's the concept of utility, right? That you should have the same right to electricity. So as much electricity as you can buy, you should be able to get. As much water as you can buy, you should be able to get. And it should be equal access to everybody. And the internet should be equal access to everybody. So that if the guy who's running the water decides that he doesn't like the fact that you're growing petunias instead of begonias, he shouldn't be able to say you can't buy anymore.
So let's take that for a second. So what you're saying is that you should be able to buy whatever you should be able to get whatever you buy, right?
Right.
How is that going to affect the ISIS Anonymous thing? Because if ISIS can buy as much as they want, they're so can Anonymous, right?
Sure.
So you have to be able to silo the discussions, right? Because it's not about the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It's not. It's not about ISIS. It's not about those things. Because whatever you give one side, you automatically give in the other side.
So Comcast was caught and fined for slowing down BitTorrent.
Skype.
Right. And Skype. Right. And so they had decided that they didn't like those services and they were going to slow those down.
Right. Absolutely.
And that should not be something that a common carrier can decide.
Right, but when you read that proceedings that went on, what Comcast said, and this was 5 years ago, right? What Comcast said is, we're sorry, we didn't know that was happening. Right? They were fined and all things fine. But what did the public do? The public said, fine, you want to do that? We're not going to use Comcast anymore. That was the big thing.
That's fine, but in a lot of places,
you don't have a choice.
There is a monopoly. You don't have a choice.
That's a
most places there is actually.
Right. So that's a different choice. That's a different issue.
And that's why they're saying that it needs to be a treated like a utility.
Right.
Because in many places it is a monopoly.
I don't know if you read the whole thing, but you really need to, because when you start reading the all utility thing, what it says also is that you will not be able to send an unlawful transmission through it.
Yes.
Right? So that means it's regulated, and who says what's lawful and unlawful?
It's just the same as mail and telephone, right? You're not allowed to conduct illegal business activities over the telephone, and you're not allowed to conduct illegal commerce over the mail.
But you can't police those. You can really, what you're talking about is being able to.
Well, phones and mail are used all the time to prove conspiracy.
But they can't. What I'm saying is,
and that's how they go after organized crime.
Right, but you can't police them in real time. You can police a telephone in real time, but somebody has to be listening, right? What you're saying is that now every packet. So in other words, this podcast could be considered unlawful.
In theory, yes.
No, in theory, it depends who's making it, right?
Yeah, it depends on the content.
You just said the Koch brothers. I can get you on bullying. I just said something.
The Koch brothers are already slowing us down. So
Wait,
We are slowed down.
Hang on a second. I just said something about ISIS, so I could be a terrorist.
Yes.
But so in order for that to happen, you are giving up your rights. I don't have any rights because I'm a foreigner, and furthermore, I would still be able to do whatever the hell I want to. Right? Think about it.
Oh yeah. No, there's definitely going to be pluses and minuses to it.
The problem is you have to get the politics out. You have to be able to remove the politics from this. Whenever this is being discussed on the floor of the House and Senate, you're going to have people that are.
Oh, we see now. That's where you're wrong, right? Because this is not House and Senate. This is not laws. This is rules. This is FCC, and the FCC just has to say this is how we decided this has to be, because it's the FCC already has the power to regulate interstate communications, and the internet falls under the FCC,
Right.
and so the FCC can just say here's the rule.
And specifically, since you just
And
made
they're done.
all,
Yeah.
and specifically since you made all the ISP carriers, now they have jurisdiction over all of them.
Yes.
Yes. No politics there.
No, it's very straightforward.
Right. But if you're ISIS, you could do whatever the hell you want as long as you're outside the U.S.
Sure, and that's one of the things that makes the internet such a challenge.
Right. So what you're doing is you're really firewalling the U.S., right? Because what you're doing is you're removing the freedom of speech. Because if I wanted the freedom to listen to BBC, and you decide that Top Gear is bad because it teaches people how to speed, you can shut that off.
Yes.
Right. That sounds great. You should get more of that.
Well, that's what the concept is, that you shouldn't be able to do that you shouldn't be able to say, I don't like Top Gear because it's people speeding.
But the moment you regulate something, somebody's making a decision for you.
So this is the difference between those who are conservative and those who are progressive.
I'm neither. Because my progressiveness said that everything should be left alone and you do whatever the hell you want to. That's my liberal in me. My Republican in me says, you guys just don't know what the hell you're doing. We need to help you here.
Yeah.
And only the rich people should get access to this stuff. That's all. I'm neither conservative nor liberal. I'm just looking at my own need, which is to be able to read any newspaper in the world. And as you guys know, I do, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could read Farsi, but cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I listen to Al Jazeera. I listen to RT.
Mm-hmm.
Republicans don't do that, right?
Okay. Yeah. So, in any case, I do think you know, there are levels, you know, the degrees to which you can do it, you know, and I think that net neutrality governed by the government is a good concept. I think that the pendulum is going to swing too far to the right, where it's going to control too much, and then it's going to swing too far to the left, where it liberalizes too much, and you know, just like lots of different kinds of governmental regulations. I think that you know, if you look at banking and finance regulation, I think today it's still too loose, and they need to tighten it up a little bit. But
you are hugely correct.
But you know, but that's you know, that's the fundamental difference. I think that these kinds of things have a rhythm to them, and they swing tight and loose.
But just think about that. Just think what you just said, right? Because I agree on the financial stuff. That is a problem that can easily be said. I don't know what problem net neutrality is addressing. Which one of my problem are they addressing? What problem am I having?
The problem would be that a great deal of the fiber passes through the central of the country, right? Mm-hmm. So everything that's happening in Silicon Valley and New York City passes through, I don't know, Chicago, St. Louis, or whatever. St. Louis could effectively decide that the local utility that manages the fiber that's coming through could decide that they don't like Netflix or Uber or any of them.
I get that, but that's not a problem that I'm having currently. You're looking ahead to a problem that could be. So that's like saying, you might be having a problem with whatever in the future, so I'm going to fix it now. What problem is net neutrality fixing for me today?
I think that it's addressing things like, you know, Comcast slowed down Tor, you know, and BitTorrent and all that kind of stuff, and all the peer-to-peer networking. And that is a real problem that has happened in the world.
Well, I think I think that traffic's going to be more than slowed down. I think they're going to try to stop that if they can. I mean, it's because if there was a recent article about Sony executives wanting to actually have people that are taking torrents go to jail. They're like going hardcore against it now. So that was just the other day in the news. So apparently there's definitely, and that's obviously anti-net neutrality.
I just seriously think, and I'm being very truthful with you, Chris, that if you're worried about the Koch brothers, I think you're making it worse by giving net neutrality, because somebody with funds and lawyers can get their point across. You and I can't. That's just, I think we're giving the power to the wrong people.
But I think that if there's no rule, then they'll do whatever they want to, and you realize that gathering the concept or getting the concept that Comcast was actually slowing down BitTorrent, it took a couple of hundred people, a couple of years, working together to actually come up with the information to prove that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's lots of that going on.
They didn't have any insiders, they didn't have any whistleblowers or anything else. And so coming up with the proof that said this is actually happening.
I agree with you. What would happen to if somebody wanted to start a Google company right now? You wouldn't be able to do it because Google would shut you down. And because you have net neutrality on your case, I could befuddle the government for 20 years to say they're doing something unlawful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at the startups that are coming up. A lot of the startups come up by getting information on the edges. Anything that's line-based, you're going to have to go prove to somebody that you're not doing something. It's either a free marketplace or it isn't. There's no in between. You know?
No, I don't agree with that. I really don't. I think that in the beginning, when they started selling electricity,
yep,
the electric utilities also sold you your toaster, your light bulbs, and your stove.
I don't remember that, but I will take your word.
No, I know that, but that was the case, you know, and it was everything, and that's when they said you need to be able to open it up, you need to be able to buy your own toaster, and you need to be able to buy your own light bulbs and things like that. And so all that stuff is out there, and we're not at that point today with the internet, but it could go in that direction, right? Comcast could say, you know, the only way that you're allowed to use this is to connect with a Comcast netbook, And there's nothing that would prevent anybody from doing that. And that's what the concept of net neutrality is that you can't restrict things to just the stuff that you agree with. And I do think that we need to put some fences around it.
Okay.
So.
That's fair. I respect your opinion.
Well, it's a good conversation, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's not going to get solved today.
I've been wrong many times before. Once.
It will probably not be solved for many, many years.
I don't think it's going to ever be solved because I think it's just going to the conversation is going to continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys? Do you guys use your phones for pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new app that I've been using. It's called Darkroom. I don't know if it's on your platform, Chris, but I'll tell you what you can do.
Darkroom, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in Android.
Okay, I'll check it out.
But you can. I mean, I know you guys take pictures and stuff. Remember the old days, Chris, when you used to go into the mixing of the chemicals? Seriously, did you ever do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I did that too, right?
That's before net neutrality.
Wait, so this lets you do exactly that real time.
There, as far as I can tell, there is it Darkroom Camera? Fun Android?
It's just Darkroom. I don't know what it's called.
There's a lot of things called Darkroom in the Android store,
Okay,
but that doesn't.
maybe one of them. Here's the. I'll give you the story on it. Just found it. It is.
So it simulates the stuff you can do with developing film, old school style.
Yeah, and there's another one that's called Hydra. Again for the iPhone, and what Hydra lets you do, it takes 100 pictures simultaneously of the one picture. So you when you click, it'll take 100 pictures of your bless you. Well, we're not professional. You can sneeze on there. What it does is take 100 pictures and then mixes them all up, so you have a much more defined picture. Hydra. I don't know if that's in your universe either, but you gotta try it.
Actually, it's built into my Galaxy S5.
So what does that do? How many pictures does it take?
It
A
takes
lot.
about 8 or 10, yeah.
Yeah, this is 100, because we can do that with the iPhone too. I think it does like a handful.
It's the HDR mode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is 100 pictures, and I think you can actually make it bigger than that. All right, guys, I've taken up enough of your time. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Go make your day great, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Have a great day.
Take care.